we were boiling sap here at 12 o'clock and we were just finishing up and there was no vacuum in one bush. So at 1 o'clock in the morning, sap's running, you gotta go figure something out. So I went back and I fixed one of those releasers and I thought, I don't like this gasket, but we'll put it back together and hopefully it goes for the night. Well, by the time I got out of the bush and into the house, my phone went off and said, hey, the tank's full over here. So I had to go from my house on Trustler over to here, pump this tank out. By the time I got that done, got back home, that was no vacuum back in that bush again. So at now 2:30 in the morning, I went back and I took that whole releaser out of the bush, brought it here, tore it all apart, rebuilt it, fixed it, and took it back to the bush. And got a couple hours sleep and did it all over again. Like, that's just the way it goes. You gotta push yourself.
Welcome to the very first episode of Yaps of Meaning, where we dive into the stories and passions that drive extraordinary people. I'm Anuj, and along with my friend David, the amazing camera person, I'm thrilled to kick off this journey with you. For our debut episode, we're heading into the heart of New Dundee, Ontario to explore the world of maple syrup farming. Our guests today are Andrew and Jennifer Sallan, whose family-owned and operated farm has been producing 100% pure maple syrup for over half a century. From tapping the trees to bottling the golden goodness, Andrew, Jennifer, and their family pour passion into every drop. We'll discuss the fascinating process of making maple syrup, the challenges and joys of running a family farm, and what makes their syrup truly special. So, this episode is for you whether you're a maple syrup enthusiast, interested in how businesses are run, or just curious about the craft. Grab a cup of your favorite beverage and maybe a stack of pancakes, and join us as we uncover the secrets of maple syrup farming at the Maple Tap Farm. The first question I had is, I was looking at your website, and you guys started in 1969 with the maple syrup, and you've been going on for 3 generations. Why don't you tell me more about how it started? What? Was that your grandfather?
Yeah. My grandfather made maple syrup with the neighbor.
With the neighbor? In
the bush, that old sugar shack was taken, that picture. In that bush. They just did it out in the open when my dad was 13. So it was my grandfather, or...
your grandfather?
No, my great-grandfather.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, my great-grandfather. And my dad and the neighbor. And they made syrup without a sugar shack, just in a pot in the bush. And that's the way a lot of people did it. That's the way everybody did it. Anybody who had a farm with some bush and maple trees made maple syrup. That was a common source, a staple source of sugar for them back then.
Okay. Because back then, sugar was pretty expensive, right?
Yeah.
Just to get cane sugar?
Yeah. So my dad, he just kind of kept on with it. And it was always a hobby for him, and always just a way to make a bit of money and have it was a hobby. It still really is. It's just an oversized hobby.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I don't know, when we built this place, we really started adding trees. We built
this sugar shack in 09.
09, okay. And before 09, we probably only had about 2,000 taps.
2,000 taps. So when you say taps, there could be multiple on one tree.
Yeah. Trees, yes.
Yeah.
So when you started?
We started really amping up around probably 2012. Somebody wanted us to boil their sap, and somebody else wanted us to boil their sap, and we thought, okay, we can do that. We gotta get bigger.
So. What do you mean by that? So you're at this point you have 2,000 taps and you're only boiling your own sap.
We brought another bush of ours online, which brought us up to almost 4,000.
Okay.
And then a neighbor approached us and says, "Hey, I don't want to boil my sap anymore. Do you want to come pick it up?"
Okay. Yeah.
And we said, "Sure, we'll boil it for you.
Yeah.
If we get half the syrup."
So he does all his own.
So he does all his own bush work.
Yep.
I truck the sap for him and give him half the syrup once it's boiled.
Okay, so that's your payment.
Yes.
The half the syrup is your payment.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So you guys went from 2,000, you doubled it to 4,000,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that
we added on.
what time period is
Yeah,
that
about
approximately?
2,000. About 2 years. Like 2 years we did that over 2 years.
Over 2 years. So what year? What year is this?
Probably say 2010, 2011, 2012.
2011, 2012. Yep. And then you added 2 extra thousand. You said.
Yeah.
When was that?
Oh, around then.
Probably all,
It all sort of happened. It just all came on, and we did it all at once there.
Okay. So you guys went from 2,000 to 6,000,
6,000.
and that all like on the same equipment? Because you said you built this in 2009.
The reverse osmosis is a little bit bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So we did have to get another reverse osmosis, which is a bit bigger.
Okay.
A little bit bigger capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Other than that, everything's pretty much the same.
So,
but we would be at max capacity
right now
for that many right now. If I wanted more than that, if I wanted to add another 2,000 or 3,000, I'd have to think about natural gas and bigger RO and smaller evaporator and all that stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, like, what made you... So you said your great-grandfather started? Like, because everybody was doing it?
Yeah.
With your dad?
Yeah.
And then your great-grandfather started with your dad?
Yeah.
So what happened? What about your grandfather?
My grandfather didn't have much to do with it.
Okay.
It was all my dad.
Okay. That makes sense.
He didn't have a whole lot to do with it.
So what about, what would you say, like, are your favorite, like, memories from getting into maple syrup, and why do you think you're, like, still in it?
I don't know. I wonder that every day. I like doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of work, a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like being outside,
Like being outside.
working outside, working in the bush.
The bugs don't bother you? Just like part of life?
No bugs in the early spring.
Oh, yeah, because they're dead.
In the wintertime, there's no bugs.
Yeah.
If we get a lot of snow makes it tough in the bush.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like muddy.
Just walking through snow.
Mm-hmm.
If it's light, fluffy snow, it's no big deal. But when it gets deep with like a crust on it, it's a struggle to get through the bush. It really makes bush work a lot longer.
Okay, yeah, when you have a lot of snow. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe, but like it's fun. Like you wouldn't do it if you didn't enjoy it.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Because it is a ton of work. But
Mhm.
yeah, like if you like being outside and just it can be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have friends and family who like to come out and help us in the bush, tap trees, with the boiling and the packaging. Like
Mhm.
it's just like a great like family time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just everybody kind of coming together for like a common goal, and it's just fun.
Yeah. So, I guess, what do you think about, like, what did you first think about him being in, like, maple syrup, like, and how, were you already into it, or did you, like, grow on it?
No,
It's a real candy dropper.
I grew up in the city, so no. I grew up on Aunt Jemima.
Okay.
I don't know. It was just, I thought it was kind of neat, and like it's different, right? Like
Mhm.
it's something very, very different. And he would be out in the bush, and I guess I had started just kind of tagging along after him just to see how things kind of went. And every year I got added a new job, and then a new job every year. He sort of just grow, and now I'm tapping trees on my own. So yeah.
So you grew up in the city.
Yeah.
What?
I'm city turned country.
Well, that's actually very rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually it's the other way around,
Yes.
right? People are like leaving the countryside, going to the city.
Yeah.
And you can, okay, wow, that's actually sick. The next thing that I want to talk about is your awards. You've won 3 awards so far, and then the other 4 you came second place. The other 4 times you entered.
Yeah.
So what goes into winning one of these awards?
It's a blind taste test. So we submitted, and there's a panel of judges. They go through and they taste it, and it's judged on taste, color, clarity, and density.
Density is the 66%.
So you gotta be really close to 66.
They want 66.7. 66.5 to 66.8 is what they.
Okay, so 2/3
Yeah.
concentration, basically. Yeah.
Because that's where the best flavor is
Okay.
Is in that window there. So yeah, they just judge you on that, and we've come out with top marks. So it's, I think it has a lot to do with his dad's experience, right? Like he's got 50 years of experience making syrup, and he perfected his craft.
Right? It's got a lot to do with knowing what judges are looking for too. Like I say, they're looking for maple flavor.
Okay.
Sometimes syrup doesn't have a nice maple flavor, or if it's darker syrup, it can have an off flavor. Or if it's late season syrup, you can have that buddy flavor, or you can tell if the syrup's been boiled too hot, too intense. There's you got to know what to look for. Before we submitted our bottle for judging, we had a table laid out here, and everybody tasted syrup all week long to see which ones they liked the best.
So what do you mean by everybody? Like just the family members
anybody that comes through the door. Here, taste the maple syrup.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you could taste the difference. So we had 6 or 8, and you could actually taste the difference between some of them, right?
Yeah.
Some of them, if you really, I don't know, it's hard to describe it. Like it was just a little bit different, and so we kind of narrowed it all down, and everybody sort of agreed that was the best one, and it won. I couldn't believe it.
Wow. Is there how many producers enter this contest, and how long has it been going on? And how many are around you here? I would say in the KW area.
I think 2016 was the first time that they started that.
I think it was going before that, but they didn't have the same kind of judging.
It wasn't professionally judged.
So it started being professionally judged in 2016. What do you mean by that? Like
they actually got someone from the Royal Winter Fairs, a judge from the Royal Winter Fair, to come down and do the taste testing.
Oh wow! So before that, it was just
that's a job.
Yeah.
That's a job.
So they get paid for taste testing. Wow. Okay.
They get paid to taste maple syrup.
So how many people are in this competition?
I don't know. It varies from year to year, but I would say at least a dozen, maybe more.
Wow, and consistently coming first and second. That's pretty huge. You guys are probably well recognized in the competition scene. So is this like a regional competition?
It's put on by the Elmira Maple Syrup Festival.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's just small. So they actually have even encouraged us to submit it to the Royal Winter Fair because that competition is province-wide.
Province-wide.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you guys end up submitting it?
Not yet. We have that one goes in the fall.
Okay.
So
Okay.
If we're gonna do that,
Are you gonna submit the same syrup? Does it does the taste change over it being sitting in a barrel?
It can, yes. Very slightly. Again, we're talking about what I would notice compared to what the average person would.
I mean, it's the judges, right? They have a lot of experience.
And they would know. They would know what changes in it.
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't decided if it'll be the same syrup or if it will be something different. We'll have to do some more taste testing.
Yeah. So, you winning these awards, why do you do it? Does it increase sales, or do you just do it to know that you're the best? I guess in the area.
I think it has increased our sales.
It has increased our sales. I think it was more we started submitting just to see where we stacked up amongst other producers. Right?
Yeah.
Just to see, curiosity really.
And
yeah.
So you guys didn't even first year 2016 you went into it. You didn't even go in really looking to win.
No.
You guys just like ended up
We
winning.
picked the bottle off the shelf and said, "Here you go." Really, is what happened.
Yeah.
That one,
It was this year. This year we went after. Like I said, we taste tested a bunch of batches that we made that we thought were exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was ones that were really good flavor. I'm sure you would have won an award with it, but the color was off a little bit, or the sugar content was a little bit low.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to disqualify those.
So it has like the color, sugar content,
Clarity
the taste.
and taste. They all have to be like bang on. Like one of them is off. You gotta disqualify that batch.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Because that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
If they pick your bottle of syrup up and they see there's a floaty in it, or like a little speck of dirt, or it's not as clear as they like, well, that.
It's like automatically booted.
Well, I don't know if it's booted, but they mark it down.
Yeah.
They,
So
everything's all judged.
Yeah,
It's scored.
You're scored out of like 100, so you would lose points.
So you get scored on each of these categories. Okay, out of 100, and then they like average it to like
I'm guessing.
make a score.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes
Do you
sense.
get a scorecard?
No, they never sent us
They
the
never
score.
said us we were supposed to.
Yeah.
Every year we get a scorecard.
Mm-hmm.
Tells us where you stand.
Oh,
We
like
get ours this year.
you get like the rankings basically, like 1 to you said a dozen, 1 to 12.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and you see, like in each category, they break it down. You can see where everybody scored
Mm-hmm.
on flavor and whatever. So it's kind of neat to see where you lost points,
Mhm.
or kind of where you could improve, I guess. Then, right?
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
How do you see the future of like the syrup business in general? Because like I think at this point in time, there's a lot of like smaller producers, right? And then
There's a lot of guys getting bigger too.
yeah. So how do you see that, like the competition? Because right now, your main focus, I would say, is in this like the servicing business, right? And then you guys do the maple syrup on the side. I imagine there's people who do just maple syrup,
Yeah.
right? Like they're big enough to do that. So how do you see the future in terms of that? Like are the businesses getting bigger?
I'd love to do more syrup stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't. This bush is the only bush that we own.
Mm-hmm.
We rent all the other bushes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to do more,
Mm-hmm.
but something's got to change as far as this business and what we start servicing or what we don't service anymore. You
Mm-hmm.
know, start.
Because right now, the service business of maple syrup, they conflict in the spring. Those are our two busiest times.
They're competing for your time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we kind of have to decide which one we want to focus on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see where we end up. Whether we pursue the syrup a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
that could be kind of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see.
So
I think the syrup, like as far as the industry has potential, to, especially in Ontario, to grow.
Mhm.
Because we actually, how do they word it? We have more trees in Ontario
Yeah.
than Quebec,
Yeah.
but Quebec taps on Crown land where we don't in Ontario.
Quebec is the largest producer of maple syrup worldwide.
Yes.
yes.
There's nobody bigger than Quebec.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Ontario has the potential to be bigger if the province would open up Crown land, if we could start tapping those trees.
Okay, so why haven't they opened it up yet? Because Quebec's been doing it for a while,
Yeah.
right?
They also have a different system. They have like a quota system in Quebec.
Mm-hmm.
So where you sell your syrup to the marketing board.
Okay.
Whereas here in Ontario, it's each producer is on their own.
Everyone's by themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you guys do have like the association where you buy the plastic jugs from?
Yeah, we're a member of OMSPA, the Ontario Maple Syrup Producers Association.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we are a member there. So we follow like their guidelines and whatnot as far as like keeping the
Yeah.
what do they call it, best practices.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like keeping your sugar shack clean and bush maintenance and stuff like that. Like we try to follow that as closely as we can.
Mm-hmm.
just so that way then that also gives people like a peace of mind that we have like a good clean product. We're not like burning tires or anything.
Okay, so you're like making sure the product is clean, but like you're also not polluting the environment at the same time.
Our facility is clean and sanitary.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, why don't you talk to me about like the equipment needed to, what's it called, to produce maple syrup? And you also package it yourself, right? Yeah.
There's a lot of specialized equipment.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Because you make a lot of your own stuff, right?
We make a lot of our own stuff. Build some of our own stuff. You know.
Well, like what are the big ticket like items that are required to make maple
The
syrup?
evaporator in there is the big thing. The RO is another big thing.
So how much do these things cost, and how long do they last?
I don't know. They last a long time. I'm not even sure what they cost. Like you probably wouldn't buy an evaporator like that for less than $50,000 now.
Wow, $50,000.
I think it's a good guess on, yeah. Yeah, and an RO would probably be at least 30 or 40,000.
At this point in time.
Yeah.
Prices have went up?
Yeah, I'm sure they have. I'm sure that RO in there I have in mind was 34,000. Was that low 30s or high 20s?
Wow.
That RO in there.
50 plus 30, that's 80,000 right there.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's without building, that's
without the building, without everything else, and then
your filter press.
Your filters, the truck to haul the stuff, your infrastructure in the bush.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is usually good for 10 years.
Okay.
Like $20,000 to set up a bush nowadays.
Wow. Like with all the vacuums,
With
the tanks, the lines.
The tank, yeah.
Yeah, that's without labor. Like it takes a lot of time to do it.
Yeah, you don't consider your labor.
Yeah.
If you did, you'd be sadly.
No.
You'd be very sad at the end of the day. But you wouldn't do it if you didn't like it.
Yeah. It's like there's no way someone just does it for the money, right? Like it's like
it's got to be big stuff. You got to be a big producer to make a good living on it.
Yeah. So let's say I wanted to like tomorrow or like within the next year, I wanted to set up like a maple production company or something. Like with like a rough estimate today, I want to like build what you have, like build like a building, have all the equipment with the truck, the tanks and everything. How much do you think it would cost?
$1 million easy.
$1 million.
You can't do nothing for $1 million anymore. Like if you want to become a farmer and buy chicken quota, that's $10 million to start.
Wow.
Like if you wanted to farm and have a calf cow operation, to do that, you'd need $1 million. You need tractors. You need a place to put them, barn, and then your property. Like, it's
because it is so costly to like start out. I think that's kind of why everybody. It seems like most people they start small, and then every year you add a little something. You add a little something.
With the money that you make from the previous year. Yeah.
With any profits, you kind of reinvest it and you grow. So like this is where we ended up after we put 50 years worth of work into it, right?
And really only we started really since we moved here and built this is when we started really upgrading and doing. It's because we were more of a part of it.
Yes.
My dad, we became more of a part of it when we got married, and even before I was married. All my life, I've been dabbling around with maple syrup.
Yeah. You
helping my dad every spring.
Yeah. You always say you don't know what spring is. With syrup, right?
Yeah.
I've never had a spring without the busyness of maple syrup.
Yeah. So that's just how you grew up, basically.
Tapping trees, working in the middle of the night, walking around in the bush at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
It's all fun.
So you've got a different definition of fun compared to most other people.
Yes.
One night this year, we were boiling sap here at 12 o'clock, and we were just finishing up, and there was no vacuum in one bush. So at
night,
at 1 o'clock in the morning, sap's running. Got to go figure something out. So I went back and I fixed one of those releasers, and I thought, I don't like this gasket, but we'll put it back together and hopefully it goes for the night. Well, by the time I got out of the bush and into the house, my phone went off and said, hey, the tank's full over here. So I had to go from my house on Trustler over to here, pump this tank out. By the time I got that done, got back home, that was no vacuum back in that bush again. So at now 2:30 in the morning, I went back and I took that whole releaser out of the bush, brought it here, tore it all apart, rebuilt it, fixed it, and took it back to the bush.
Okay.
And got a couple hours sleep and did it all over again. Like that's just the way it goes. You gotta push yourself.
Yeah, that's just spring for you guys. It's like it's like every year that's just spring. Like stuff just goes wrong and you have to fix it.
You have to figure it out. Because there's no like.
There's
no one to call. There's no like. There's no hotline.
That's right. There's no syrup specialty line. Like you're the guy.
Yeah, you are the syrup specialty.
You're the syrup specialist. If something goes wrong, you gotta fix it.
Yeah.
You know?
Or else you're like wasting all this time and like the sap's coming out and you're not really using it. Yeah. So you said you would like to do more syrup, right? What's preventing you from going from, like you said you have 6,000 taps now to like maybe 60,000 or 100,000?
That's doable, but we wouldn't be able to do this anymore.
The service,
Sure.
Would you be okay with that?
I don't know. We'd be pretty tight for room over there to do that. There's a guy in Cambridge, Shady Grove. He does. I think he's up to 78,000 taps now, or something like that.
Wow.
And he says their average boil, like they would have hundreds of thousands of gallons of sap.
Wow.
And he says their average boil is about 8 or 9 hours. That's what they aim for. Their average boil being 9 hours. So they run a massive RO system. They have a huge evaporator, it runs on oil. There's no wood cutting. They have different producers that truck all their sap to them. Okay. So they just have massive holding tanks.
So
that guy it's so big. You've seen like the big enough trucks out there.
Yeah.
So he has trucks like that full of sap coming in.
Wow, are you serious?
Yeah.
So people have farms, they have bushes of trees, and they don't have like a building that you do.
That's right.
So this guy does he do the tapping himself, or he just does the evaporating?
Some of it he does. He probably has, he probably has about 40,000 taps himself. And then other people bring him their sap.
Okay. So if you guys wanted to go to 100,000, would you use the same strategy? Like what kind of strategy?
I like that strategy, and my dad always liked that strategy because it's what gets you the most for the least. I know when I go pick up 1,000 gallons of sap somewhere, or 800 gallons of sap from somebody, if they were to process that, that's 8 hours, 9 hours of boiling for them.
Yep.
For us, it takes an hour and a half.
Oh, because you've got the equipment.
We've got the equipment. It takes an hour and a half.
Yeah.
What's an hour and a half at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
An hour and a half. Who cares?
Yeah. It's like 7 or 8 hours for them. It's like they're stretching into the next day.
Yeah.
Right? And that's not the only thing. They have like other work to do.
Yeah.
So, are banks and like lenders willing to help you out and like loan you money to grow?
I'm sure they would. I'm sure there's farm credit programs that help you out.
Yeah.
But we don't expand something unless we can pay for it.
In cash.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's even sometimes government grants for upgrading equipment.
Yeah, upgrading equipment. Because usually, years ago, they come out with, back in 2009, I think it was, they come out with a grant because they wanted to get rid of lead solder. Like the lead solder pans. If you had soldered pans, all our stuff is now welded. Everything's welded, right?
Because they didn't want the lead leaking into it.
They didn't want the lead solder. And they hadn't used lead solder for years, but they wanted to get rid of the lead solder, so they had a program that they paid for a certain portion of the upgrades. So that's when we bought the newer evaporator. The old evaporator is actually sitting at the end of the driveway. That's the old evaporator. The sign.
That's the old evaporator. Where you have the flowers. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. This one's the new one here. And
I was wondering what that is. I'm like, that kind of looks like something that could be used.
Yeah.
And okay, that's good to have clarity there. So what would you say are the biggest challenges of like operating your business, and like how do you deal with like the irregularity, right? It's just like, what is it, like a couple of months, like 3 months of sap flowing?
Yeah. No, a couple months.
Just weeks. A couple weeks too, sometimes.
You usually make. I would bet we make the majority of our syrup in 3 weeks.
Okay.
2 or 3 weeks.
More than 50% of it you make in 2 or 3 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We made, what was it, a couple years ago? It was just phenomenal. I think we did 46 barrels in a week and a half or something like that in like 12 days.
Yeah.
It was pretty intense.
Yeah, it was super intense. But it's always tough switching because when I work in the shop, I like to work early in the morning.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really work for maple syrup because it runs through the day and then its finish is running at night.
Okay. Yeah.
So you got to boil up what happened in the day. So it's usually night work.
Yeah.
Right?
And then your shop work is your day work.
Day work.
So when do you sleep?
That's right.
That's
right.
So what would you say is like the biggest challenge?
Time. Yeah, just time. Time. We usually adapt to things pretty good. Yeah. Things that.
I think even maybe people a little bit this year because now it's just the two of us.
But I mean, it's just that people don't handle anymore. People don't handle changes in your day.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean? Well, it's quite often we have a plan of what's going on. We have a plan.
Yeah. And
you have a plan about what's going on for the day, and you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and you start the plan. By 8 o'clock, the whole thing's shot. You're starting all over again. Like,
because something broke down.
You have
to adapt.
And our customers don't wait. They use the equipment that we fix. They use every day to make their money. Yeah. So yesterday we had a rain day, or was it yesterday? Yesterday was all
it was raining. Yes.
No, it was Wednesday. Yes. Wednesday was the big rain day. I had no work here at 5 in the morning. Okay. By 3 in the afternoon, I had 10 machines here sitting ready to service for the next morning.
Wow. And that's because of the rain, or
because of the rain? Nobody's using machines. Well, they sit there and they look at their machine and go, "Hey, it's raining today. Maybe I should take that in and get it serviced." We're not using it, right? Yeah. Can I have it tomorrow morning?
There's so you've got 10 machines in, and you've got to get it done by tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Make it work.
Wow. Okay. That's actually kind of crazy. Since you've had 50 years of experience, right? the company has 50 years of experience. What advice would you have for like a smaller producer or someone just starting up?
Oh, I don't know. Just be prepared for lots of work. Because that's what it is. It's just working, and when you think you're done, you find something else. And
don't book a vacation
Yeah.
for the spring.
yeah. Hey, there's a perfect example. For the company here, I take care of dealer support for those mowers, the walker mowers, the yellow mowers. So they approached me.
Like warranties and stuff.
Yes,
Okay.
warranties, dealer support. We got a problem with this.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I was supposed to go down to the factory the first week of February. We had everything booked. We were like ready to go. And I'm looking at the weather and I'm thinking, we got to start tapping trees.
Yeah.
You know, so I had to cancel my trip, and I thought if I make 5 barrels of syrup by the end of the week, this experiment of early tapping would pay off, and we made 14.
Wow. Yeah.
So, and we were supposed to be in Colorado that week. So
The weather basically determines what you do.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
and and when you put the hole in the tree, like there is no vacation.
No, you're committed.
You're committed. As long as there's a hole in the tree and there's a potential for sap to run out of the tree into your tank,
Yeah.
you're committed to it. Like
No sick days.
there's no sick days. No. We all had COVID sitting in there, wrapped up in blankets, making maple syrup one spring.
Wow. All of you had COVID and you were still,
Yeah.
because the weather doesn't care if you have COVID.
That's right. The weather doesn't care.
Weather
So it
doesn't
was
care
just-
if you're sick.
Yeah.
That's right. It was just the three of us because nobody could come and help
Nobody
us.
could come
Yeah.
and help us, so it was just 3 of us, and we.
You make it work.
Just grinding it out. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Some people would have quit.
Yeah.
They're like, well, we have COVID. Like, screw this season.
Yeah.
So, why don't you guys let's talk about all the like once you have this operation going, right? Sap is flowing. What are like the biggest costs that you incur? Like, do you have maintenance,
Gas.
gas?
Yeah, gas.
Mm-hmm.
And if we upgrade to a gas-fired evaporator, that'll be really big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, gas, electricity,
Mm-hmm.
bush rentals, like as a regular cost, bush rentals.
Okay. You have to pay.
We're $1.70, $1.75 a tap.
I think so.
Okay,
Is
so
what
that
we
is
pay.
that
And
the
then-
going
and then-
rate?
Yeah.
It varies.
It varies,
Yeah.
like bush accessibility, like
Yield.
the one bush that we tap over on Bethel Road, or no, sorry, on Trussler Road there.
Yep.
Before we even tapped that bush, my dad wanted to make it so we walked back into the bush, and I said no. So we actually had to build a driveway. I hauled in, scraped all the topsoil off down through the bush, cut some trees down, put in a bunch of gravel, and made a big driveway. And to this day, we're still okay to drive our big truck with our tank on, down into the bush and collect loads of sap.
So how are these contracts structured? Because you had to like do all this work, right? Like make this gravel driveway, right? You can't just do it for like 1 year of sap, right?
No. We always thought, I always figured 10 years. Guys usually like to take some logs out of the bush, log the bush after 10 years. So 10 years is probably a safe bet for. And
So-
I mean, a lot of our bushes, I don't know.
The bushes that we rent as well, like they're friends or
Yeah,
family, so
family.
they're kind of open-ended contracts.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
just we stay in communication, and like if they have any issues, they'll let us know, and kind of vice versa, right? But as far as like building a driveway in or whatever, like that's what we wanted to make it easier for us, so that cost is on us.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. And then the contract is set up so it's per tap you guys pay?
Yeah, you pay per tap.
Yeah, and then what happens if like trees are constantly dying? There's like trees growing like within the 10 years. There's probably like some new trees that are tappable.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you guys just tap that. Like how do you count this stuff?
It's pretty good. As you say, it's within 50 or 60 trees usually.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
super accurate, but there's bags of 100 taps when we go into the bush and tap.
Mm-hmm.
So you get bags of 100. I don't know, the two of us, we'd probably do 1,000 a day between the two of us. 1,000 taps a day. So
yeah.
We just gotta keep track.
Drill a hole in there, put the pipe in.
Yeah, put the tap in.
Mm-hmm. Connect it to the main line.
Plug the hose.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. And then so that's like your biggest costs are fuel, maintenance on your vehicles.
I would say.
And so when it comes to selling this stuff, what's like your biggest, I guess, money maker?
The Elmira Maple Syrup Festival is like our biggest one-day event. That generally pays for most of our expenses.
A lot of the bottles.
Bottles
and stuff like that.
For the spring. Because we've been a vendor there for probably 40 years.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of regular customers that come back to us every year.
Yep.
35 years.
Yeah, 35.
I remember being there before I was a teenager.
Wow.
Setting up at the Syrup Festival.
So you guys are like a staple at the Syrup Festival.
Yeah. So we have a lot of regulars, and that's a huge event, right?
Yeah.
So that would be probably like our big one-day event, and then we do an open house here, which brings people in, and then we do a Syrup Festival in Paris as well, in April. I would say those are like our big springtime sellers.
Yeah.
And then we just we have some small stores in the area, and we sell from our farm store. We're open every Saturday.
Yeah.
So that's takes care of the rest of the year.
And you guys also like distribute to a bunch of retail stores.
Yeah.
How's like you guys make most of your money from going to these events, or because I know the retail is probably like more constant. Because there's only a few events throughout the year.
Yeah.
So like overall, what's like the split there?
I'd say maybe 50-50.
50% events, 50% retail over the year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Roughly, yeah.
And then. Are you guys shooting for like a revenue goal? Like let's say you have like few barrels, right? Like
no, I don't think we have a revenue goal. It's more we want to make sure we have syrup year round to supply all our regular customers now, right?
And enough to upgrade.
Yes.
We do a little upgrade every year.
Try to add
this year, I think the biggest thing is I'm not living at my Trustler Roadhouse anymore, so I can't operate out of there.
Yeah.
I used to be able to park four-wheeler there and drive back to the bush. So we're gonna regrade everything so I can drive back the farm lane now and have a generator back there. So
some bush upgrades.
Some bush upgrades.
Okay.
And I mean that's not going to be a huge cost. I'd actually like to bring that other bush that we lost. I'd like to bring that online again too at some point.
Yeah. Are there other like people approaching you with like, hey, tap my bush?
Not really. Well,
we get people to bring us sap now.
Oh, okay.
I had a young couple down the street here at their dad's place. They had a couple hundred taps and they always boiled it. And we said, well, tap all your trees, tap another 50 more, and then bring me the sap and I'll make your syrup for you. They thought, wow, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So
same thing, 50-50?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So would you rather tap more trees yourself Or would you rather have more of these customers that bring in their own?
I'd love to have more customers.
More
that
customers
do that.
to boil.
Yeah.
That would be more. That would be more feasible for us.
It's more
right?
feasible for us.
There's
really,
two of you, right?
Yeah.
It's only the two of us we can rely on.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else says, "Well, we can help you out,
Mm-hmm.
but we are available on Sunday afternoons from 2 to 4:30."
So 2.5 hours.
Well, you know what? I'll tell the trees. We appreciate the help. We appreciate the people come out, help when they can.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate it, but the people with the invested interest are by far
The most reliable.
The most reliable people.
Yeah. I mean,
It comes down to us.
yeah.
Comes down to us. I can't rely on somebody that that's got their own job or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you want to expand, it would have to be like more of the, like
Yeah.
less tapping and more
Yeah.
like coming in, other people
Or-
tapping.
Or just less work in general here. Like,
Mhm.
transfer some of this work to there. Like,
Would you rather do that than the other way around?
I don't know. I'm torn. I've thought about that lots.
Mm-hmm.
But
Would you say you're at a good balance at this point in time? Or
yeah.
Would you rather have more?
If we had as much as we did have, if we got another 1,000 back, our other 1,000 back,
Mhm.
that's maximum.
Mhm.
For the setup and everything we have, that's maximum. And it would be if we actually did go to a different, like a gas-fired evaporator, a little bit bigger RO, it would be a lot more comfortable. It'd take like a 12 or 13 hour boil
Mm-hmm.
and make it an 8 hour boil.
Oh wow!
You know.
It would cut it quite a bit.
So 8 hours is a lot different after if you're finished work here at 4:30
Mm-hmm.
and you go across the driveway and start there and it takes you 12 hours
Yep.
versus you finish here at 4:30 and go across the driveway and it takes you 6 or 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big difference in time.
Yeah. So I'm actually wondering, how do you even know how to price price your product? Like, it's not like I think it's really hard to figure out like how much it actually really costs you.
It's tough. It's tough to figure out because this is the cheapest area in the world you can buy maple syrup.
Really?
If you go to Toronto, they sell it for $30 a liter,
Mm-hmm.
$28 a liter.
Yes.
Here, we have to sell it for $20 a liter, $19 a liter,
Wow. Okay.
because
It's what everybody else.
it's what everybody else sells it for.
Mm-hmm. So in Toronto, it'd be about $30 a liter.
Yeah, everything you get from us is hot packaged.
Yeah.
We don't package anything cold.
Okay.
So it's sealed.
It's sealed.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like.
But yeah, you're right. It is hard to nail down pricing.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually something I'm trying to work through right now.
Yeah.
Because I know my father-in-law was always hesitant to raise his prices, so I'm trying to do it like mathematically, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so like, what are my actual costs going in? The cost of the bottle, the cost of the label, the cost of everything, just to kind of see where I actually line up. But you kind of want to.
Because all like most of your costs are like the big equipment, like the fixed costs, right? So
Yeah.
Yes.
how do you like manage to say like, okay, this is how much this equipment cost me per year if you paid for it in full, right? You're not making any installments, so it's not
Yeah.
that easy for you to do that.
It was kind of a challenge.
Yeah.
But yeah, we also want to, like, we don't want to be those people who are moving in and like undercutting other producers, right? Like, we want to be fair and kind to other people in the industry too, right?
Yeah.
So I think we always try to be similar,
Mhm.
right? But yeah, it's
How do you even know you're making money?
at the end of the day.
We know you're making.
Okay.
We know we're making money, but it's not.
It's nothing that's going to get us rich.
It's nothing that's going to get us rich, that's for sure. It's
and again, like,
definitely a hobby.
Yes.
And if you look at it as a hobby, like how many people's hobbies make them money?
Yeah,
it's enough to get us farm status.
What do you mean by that?
Well, farm status. So we don't pay tax on the land. We pay tax on where the house sits.
Okay.
Because the tax on the land, it's being farmed.
Yes. Yeah.
We get farm status.
So
and there's other things. There's a few other things that go along with that too. We could get farm plates for our vehicles if we want, but that doesn't make a whole lot of difference anymore.
All right. So you said you sell barrels, like, to the chef?
I sell pails. Yeah.
Pails.
Yeah.
Well, how's that different from the?
We sell it by pound.
By pound. Okay.
Pound. And I don't know, it works out, if you buy a pail, I think it works out to about $9.50 a pound, or $9.50 a liter.
$9.50 a liter?
Yeah,
how many liters?
20-liter pail, roughly.
20-liter pail.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. You guys don't sell, like, the whole drums?
Okay. Yeah, do you want one? You want one?
What am I gonna do with a drum?
140 liters.
Yeah. Because I would imagine, like, some industrial people, like, probably buy.
Yeah. Well, there's for the syrup supplier, the Weaver Sugar Bush Supply. They have a truckload of syrup, a couple truckloads of syrup that go to Quebec every year.
Wow. Even if they produce that much, they still need more.
Well, Quebec.
Yeah.
Well, it goes to their marketing board.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
They have in Quebec, they have
Is the syrup from Quebec more expensive?
They have a government entity that.
I think so.
What's that?
Syrup from Quebec is not more expensive, I don't think.
No.
But the syrup from Quebec you're gonna find that syrup in, like, the Costco's and, like, the big chain grocery stores.
And
Okay.
yeah, and yeah. Forgot what I was gonna say.
You were talking about people shipping their syrup over to Quebec to their marketing board?
Yeah.
Basically, it goes to a marketing board, and essentially, I guess, in a nutshell, they take the syrup, dump it into a big vat.
Yeah.
Everybody's syrup sort of gets mixed together,
Okay.
right? And then it gets put into the big
If
contracts.
I have some barrels or something like that maybe have a little bit of off flavor, I keep the best syrup for ourselves, and I'll send that syrup away. And again, it's sold by the pound.
Yeah. So what's the? I guess they probably just have, like, a fixed price they pay per pound.
Yeah.
So what's the going rate?
What was it? I think $2.60 a pound.
I don't even know what it was this
I
year.
can't remember what it was.
$2.60 a pound.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot lower than the $9.50 you're selling 20 pounds at.
I want to say it might be in the $3 range.
Yeah, it could. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know. Somebody said it had went up.
So why would anyone sell it to the the marketing board when
They have to in the States.
No,
Or it's in Quebec. You have to.
really
They won't allow you to sell syrup off your farm.
really wow
Just like here, you can't sell milk off your farm. It's got to go. The dairy board's got to pick it up. They take it. They pay you for it, and they sell it.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
So who makes the money then? Like, because they're buying it for $3, they don't sell it for $4. They sell it, like, much higher.
Yeah.
So is it like a cooperation? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it works, but I know that they can't really. That's why you see these big pancake houses, because they can use syrup. They can't sell it.
pancake houses.
They got big pancake houses in Quebec.
Oh, really? Like the farmers
they'll
have
open up a restaurant and for the season and make pancakes for people buy pancakes. That's how they make their money.
And that's the end of the conversation. I wanted to end off this video by saying thank you to Andrew and Jennifer for graciously providing their time and knowledge. Also, thank you to David for doing an incredible job with the camera and helping plan this whole interview. For the future, you can expect an interview being published at least once a week where we'll be talking to previously unknown individuals that are running incredibly interesting businesses. So, I don't know, just like the video, subscribe, whatever has to be done. This is my first video. We'll see how it goes, and I hope everybody has an incredible day.